We are pleased to welcome you to Blues Game Day Live alongside Joe Vitale, Darren, Robert Pang right here at Enterprise Center in downtown St. Louis. It's a rainy day. It's one day after Halloween. What did you dress up as last night there, Joey boy?
So I was a gorilla.
You
hanger.
were?
Yeah, I was a gorilla.
I see it's still on your face.
Yeah. I had the full suit, and the kids were, we had one that was a ballerina. My wife was a robber, and we actually got you a piece of candy.
No
Panger,
kidding, huh?
An almond joy for a couple reasons. First of all, I hate almond joys, so I'm going to give you that one. It's blue because it's going to be the Blues night, and you're such a joy.
Almond Joy.
So there you go. That's for you. Happy Halloween,
Thanks,
Panger.
buddy.
Did you dress up?
You too, pal. No, I didn't. I scared the daylights out of some kids. I had some little head that's got a battery on it, and it screams. And every time they were around, the dogs didn't bark because this went off early, scared the daylights out of the kids, and everything worked out extremely well. And what I liked about it was the rain came down and stopped all the trick-or-treaters right around 8:45. Sorry. There's the spirit in me.
Well, that's a little grumpy old man over here.
Anyway, it was a good night. I hope the kids had a lot of fun, and I know I think it's more fun for adults dressing up than it is for kids. See all the NHL, all the costumes around the NHL. I think NHL Network does a really good job of just showing on Twitter, on Instagram, on Facebook, whatever, all the pictures as well.
Do you have a favorite one you've seen so far?
Did you see Vladdy?
I saw Vladdy. That was good.
Yeah,
that was good.
Little,
was it Little Red Riding Hood?
Yeah, yeah. That was pretty good. Anyway, there was a whole bunch of real good ones. Should we get to the game here?
Let's talk hockey. Yeah.
Okay, I love.
I can talk about this all day long, but
it's our comfort zone hockey.
That's right.
Okay, so let's start with a couple of things. Number one, hottest line for the St. Louis Blues.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we saw this kind of generate in itself, and then when Zach Sanford went on the left side with Ryan O'Reilly and David Perron, I think things really consistently took off, and their numbers the last 4 or 5 games have been outstanding.
Oh, terrific. And this is a group that has just really come together. They all have great instincts, and they all bring something different to the table. O'Reilly's one of the best at stick checking. He sees the ice very well. He's a battler. He goes in, he dives head first into it, and then you have Sanford, who's this big, lengthy guy who's got great hands and can back up that vision and support. And DP, he kind of like is a floater. He kind of floats in space, kind of like Patrick Kane, but then he'll just jump in at the right moment. He lets that hockey mind just kind of come together, and this has been such a fun line to watch.
Yeah, it has been.
And you got to give a lot of credit to Mike Yeo for throwing Sanford up on this line. You see what a young guy can do with a great opportunity, and he certainly has made his mark here on that line.
I was talking to Ryan O'Reilly yesterday about Zach Sanford, and I said specifically, what is it about him? And he said, geez, he adapts to anything that's there. He said he's got those loose hands. Mm-hmm. It's not always on the forehand. He can go forehand, backhand. He can chip it. He can just make small plays, and his feet are always moving. And so that's a great compliment. I want to focus in on David Perron, the former Vegas Golden Knight. And as we well know, it was an incredible story last year in Vegas. It began with a very sad story. 58 people died because of the shooting at the concert. And they retired that number, by the way. There will never be a number 58 in Vegas history. We'll talk about number 57. David Perron had a breakout year last year, and I don't think it's a coincidence, and we'll talk about this tonight during our game on Fox Sports Midwest. I'm sure you will on KMOX as well. He and Jonathan Marchessault, 2 French-Canadian kids, they really hit it off as competitive friends. But interestingly enough, David Perron's offense last year was phenomenal with 66 points. Changed his stick, changed his pattern, changed his flex, and it's Jonathan Marchessault's stick that he uses, and you can see the way that puck jumps off both of their sticks. It'd be interesting to see if they can both score one on a snapshot tonight. Hopefully David gets more than Jonathan.
Oh, well, yeah.
Because they'll have a little inner competition there.
I was flexing David's stick a couple days ago, and it's funny you say that. Man, it was whippy. I think he...
Were you with me with Colton Parayko?
And Colton Parayko grabs it, and he goes, let me try this thing, and he gives it a little twist, and this thing was bowing.
I thought it was going to snap it. Me too. Thought it was going to snap.
I thought the big
so
boy was
75 flex. What did you use?
I think I was a 90 flex, but then I bumped it up to 100 because my face-offs dropped off a bit. Okay. And speaking of flexes, Ryan O'Reilly, we were talking about his flex and his stick, and he's like, I think a 110 maybe?
110, yeah.
He's a 110. That's, I think, a big reason why his face-offs are so good. So it's personal preference, but, I don't know. It's working well for both those guys for different reasons.
Yeah, great. But if you're watching or you see the snapshot, the release of it, and how easy it jumps off a stick. Like Brett Hull had a very, 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 very whippy stick.
Yeah.
One of the first guys to have almost an intermediate stick and whatever. And I found a lot of pucks behind me as a result of Brett Hall's shot with whatever stick he used. Anyway, he could use a broom handle. I don't think it would matter anyway. Vegas does not score very many goals.
No.
Obviously, that's been a main factor for Gerard Gallant, last year's Coach of the Year. Overwhelming Coach of the Year. I mean, he got all 99% of the votes, and he deserved that. But they defend well, and they can't score. So what are the keys for the Blues in tonight's game against them?
Well, the scoring is certainly down, and you look at, no Stastny in the lineup right now, and no Pacioretty, and I think they're feeling that. And last year, you had James Neal and you had DP. I mean, this is kind of a lot of new looks for this club, and struggling to find the back of the net. So if you're the St. Louis Blues, you gotta jump on them. You gotta jump on them early. I don't think you want to fall behind in this game, because when you look at a team that defends so well, if you let them hang around, that's when it can kind of bite you. So a big start tonight. Hopefully get a couple on the board, and I tell you what, that power play, just keep on clicking, keep on moving, and keep getting this Blues in a good direction, I think.
Well, a little inventory here. Carl Gunnarsson recalled, Soshnikov recalled, and Robbie Fabry recalled from the American Hockey League. Looks like, don't know yet. They're still out there skating in the pregame skate, but it looks like Gunnarsson will get the nod. That means we could have two left-handers on that third pairing. That might leave a guy like Jordan Schmaltz out of the lineup. And Robbie, if you go on that, let's say that fourth line starts with the Robbie Fabry in there. Barbashev played really well. A little bit of a folk hero right now, fighting Seabrook at the end of that game, and the way that he's played certainly doesn't deserve, unless he's banged up a little bit, to be out of the lineup. And then, that leaves you with, obviously, Robbie Thomas, and it leaves you with Oscar Sundqvist. So, but I want to move forward. Fourth line. It'd be interesting if they went with that look, because the fourth line of Vegas is awfully good. Awfully heavy. Carrier, it leads the league in hits. Ryan Reeves right there in hits as well. And then Bellemare is a real veteran, well-schooled third, fourth line player as well. So what do you see there? If a guy like Robbie Fabry does get in, and you got that big hulking line, what are some of the things they'll be looking at?
Well, I don't think you should go head-to-head against those guys. Those are some big boys. If I'm Robbie Fabry, if I'm him, I'm using my speed. You kind of want, if it were me, I want to be out there against a Ryan Reeves kind of line, and those kind of guys, because they can use that quickness. And I think when you add Robbie Fabry to the lineup, this is getting back to the speed thing. St. Louis has not been a fast team this year, and they know that. They've had to execute so well to keep up in games. And now you get Fabry back, and Social hopefully maybe on the wing, but Barbie's up and running now. I thought Thomas had probably
he played real well.
Best campaign the other day versus Chicago. I think he I talked to him after the game a little bit, and he goes, I watched a couple games from up top, and you get a different perspective on it. I had a moment just to breathe. Camp, it was rookie camp, the main camp. It's stressful. He's a 19-year-old kid. He's moving into Kachuk's basement. A lot's going on. He needed just a moment to breathe, analyze the game a little bit, and see something different. And I think that done him some wonders, because I thought he had a terrific night there, and adding Carl there on the back end. I think the Blues have struggled defending at times, and I think Carl will come in there and do what he does best, and that's keep the pucks out of the net.
Yep. For those of you wondering as well, with Jake Allen leaving, didn't skate in one of the days, obviously missing half the game against Chicago because getting run into. He's out here again. He was out there yesterday. He was out there again today. He's in the starters net. You go by that a little bit at home, and when he's starting, he always goes at the net closest to us. So it looks like he's ready to go, as he said yesterday, Joe, and then Marc-Andre Fleury at the other end of the ice, because Malcolm Subban played in Nashville. So we'll see this should be an athletic goaltending matchup. And Marc-Andre Fleury is a guy that never quits on a play. He's got great hands, as you well know. You know him well. You played against him, with him. You practiced with him. And I guess you got to get on him for those second chances. He's pretty good on the first ones.
He is, he's a battler. Listen, I don't know if there's a goalie in the league that will stick with a puck longer than Marc-Andre Fleury, and he does it in practice too. And I think every kid out there, if you're listening, go watch Marc-Andre practice. And this is how a goalie should compete in practice. He'll make the first save, he'll make the second save, and usually the goalies kind of fizzle out after that. They get ready for the next rep, but he will stay on a player in a puck for 4 to 5 shots, and he won't even care about the next guy coming down the lane. He sticks with it. He's a battler. So much fun to watch, and an incredible person. So it'll be a great goalie matchup tonight.
Will be. Over 400 wins for Marc-Andre Fleury. This game starts at 7 o'clock here local time, 6:30 on the pregame show on KMOX with Chris Kerber and Joe Vitale. Same with us, Bernie Federico and Scott Warman on the pregame show on Fox Sports Midwest, and John Kelly and I have the call beginning at 7 o'clock right here at Enterprise Center in St. Louis. So for Joe, I'm Panger. Happy second day after Halloween, and hope you have some joyful almonds today. Have a great day, everybody.